Now, how's this for a job advert? Middle-aged married couple needed, must have a sense of adventure. Experience of space travel is essential. Well, that's who Dennis Tito is looking for, to send on a 17-month round trip to Mars.
It's not your average weekend away, but for one adventurous couple, the Red Planet could be their dream destination. A US non-profit foundation is looking for a married couple for its mission to Mars. But blastoff won't be until 2018, when the first launch window opens. The project will cost upwards of $1 billion, all of which will come from the private sector.
We have funding to keep this going for 2 years, out of my pocket, but anyway, we should be able to raise the funds to complete the mission. This is a challenging but attainable goal for advancing human experience and knowledge. Now is the time.
10 years ago, Dennis Tito became the first space tourist on the International Space Station, paying $20 million for the privilege. But the mission to Mars will be a little less glamorous. The privately funded expedition won't have to stick to NASA guidelines on air and water quality. It's a journey that could test the most solid of marriages. The crew would have minimal food and clothing, and urine will be recycled into drinking water. And if the worst happens, there's no turning back.
So I think it goes without saying that it's going to be an incredible honor for these two crew members to be on this mission and be the ambassadors for humanity, the first people to have ever laid eyes on the planet Mars. But it's not necessarily going to be a very easy trip. So I think one way to think about it is this. It's a really long road trip. You're jammed into an RV that goes the equivalent of 32,000 times around the Earth, and you can't get out for about a year and a half. And they'll have about 3,000 pounds of dehydrated food, yummy, that they get to rehydrate with water, the same water that they drank 2 days earlier, because, as Tabor mentioned, they will be recycling it over and over again.
The Inspiration Mars Foundation says it's planning to use off-the-shelf capsule technology. Similar hardware has carried cargo to the International Space Station. They want it to take a two-person crew. They're proposing an older married couple around Mars and back in 501 days. We have the technology, but do we have the biology? A pulse of solar particles from a flare like this would kill Mars-bound astronauts in hours without a well-shielded craft. But the whole point of the mission, according to its backers, is to learn by trying.
This is going to be a very austere mission. You don't necessarily have to follow all of NASA's guidelines for air quality and water quality. This is going to be, a Lewis and Clark trip to Mars.
Will they pull it off? It'll take serious financial backing and a couple willing to risk their lives. But America's burgeoning private space sector is already proving there's money and opportunity to be had beyond our planet. As Dennis Tito sees it, he's investing his money in the future of mankind.